Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Sunbury Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's April 27th. 2026, 6:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mrs. Miller is absent. Mr. Long. Mr. Stotterman is absent. Mr. Palma. Mrs. Stark. Here. For present, we have quorum.
All right, first item on the agenda, we have two public hearings. We'll handle these one at a time. The first one is public hearing begins, and that is conditional use for 805 and 809 South Kintner Parkway for a model home. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use for a model home to be located in the Kintner Crossing subdivision. The anticipated process for the public hearing is the applicant presentation, staff report, public comment, commission questions. After that public hearing is done, we're going to open up another public hearing. We'll close that one, and then we will actually go into regular session, and we will handle them in reverse order, and that's due to our recusal, and we'll explain that a little bit more. Bottom line is that each one of these public hearings has the public hearing portion and then a decisioning portion. These may get delayed. The commission may take action this evening. Just want to make sure there's going to be a bifurcated process. That is normal. With the public hearing, the first one for 805 and 809 South Kintner Parkway, I'll ask Mr. Vic Whitney, our legal counsel, to lay out the ground rules, and we'll have our stenographer swear in anybody that wishes to testify.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name is Vic Whitney. I'm legal counsel to the Planning and Zoning Commission. As the mayor indicated, the first item on the agenda is a public hearing on a conditional use application for 805 and 809 South Kintner Parkway for a model home. In a moment, as you can see, there's a stenographer here. This is a public hearing. She's taking down everything that's being said. So in a moment, I'm going to ask anyone who wishes or may wish to provide comment on this first conditional use for 805 and 809 South Kintner Parkway. We'll have you stand up, raise your right hand, and the stenographer will swear you in. Again, this is a public hearing, so the testimony that we give will need to be under oath. When I turn it back over to the mayor in a moment, he will begin conducting this public hearing. At the time when he begins asking for people to provide comment, including the applicant and whoever else may wish to provide comment, he will direct you up to the lectern there. When he does, please come up to the lectern at his direction. There's a microphone there. Please, right at the outset, state your name and your address clearly into the microphone, so we make sure we know who you are in case we need to get a hold of you after this hearing for any reason. We would be able to do so. Speak audibly, loudly, so we can hear you into the microphone, slow enough that the stenographer can take down what you're saying. The commission may or may not have questions for you as you're providing comment. If they do, please stop and let them ask their question before you respond. Again, the stenographer can only take down one person speaking at any given time, so we have to make sure that we're only speaking one at a time. In a moment, or after this first hearing is done, then the second conditional use for 82 East Granville Street will come up also for a public hearing. We will ask those persons who are going to offer testimony on that to stand at that time. So right now, no one from 82 East Granville Street conditional use application need to stand, but anyone, including the applicant, who believes that they may wish to offer testimony tonight on this conditional use application 805, 809 South Kintner Parkway. If you would right now, please stand up and raise your right hand, and we'll have the stenographer swear everybody in. So that would include the applicant, if the applicant's here.
You're the only person that's going to speak for D.R. Horton.
Sure. Yes.
All right, thank you.
If you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you present will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah. Yes. And Mr. Mayor, before I turn it back over to you, I do have 3 exhibits marked to submit into the record. I've got marked as Exhibit A, the application and a total of 24 pages of submittals by the applicant, which includes plan, drawings, and the elevations that were submitted with the application. So that's Exhibit A, 24 pages. Exhibit B is a 6-page document, which was the staff report, which has been submitted to the commission already. Exhibit B, 6 pages. And Exhibit C is a 4-page document, which includes the public hearing notice and the proof of mailing to the affected property owners. 4 pages, Exhibit C. So I would move to admit those into the record at this time.
Accept, thank you. All right, first item on the agenda, or first element of this particular process will be the applicant presentation. Would you like to come up and just speak in plain English terms what you're requesting from the commission, please? Introduce yourself, state your name.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Brian McDonough. I am a representative with D.R. Horton. For our statement, it said D.R. Horton is proposing the installation of a residential parking lot consisting of 7 off-street parking spaces. The intent of this project is to provide convenient, organized parking for prospective new homeowners, trade partners, and other appointments. This will reduce the need for on-street parking within the community. The improvement will not create any negative impacts on the surrounding residential community. The parking area is limited in size and will not generate additional traffic and will be landscaped. So no noise or operational disturbances are anticipated beyond anything of what is typical or normal for community parking activity. The design will be consistent with residential character and will comply with all applicable zoning, screening, and building code requirements. And the goal is simply to offer safe, clean, and obtrusive off-street parking that supports the need for the community while maintaining the quiet nature of the neighborhood. The operation hours for the model side of things is going to be Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sunday from noon to 6 p.m. Which is going to be open to the public during those times. Anything else or any questions?
Not at this time. Thank you very much. We're going to go to the staff report. We may call you back up, sir. Thank you very much. Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. As the applicant said, they are requesting a conditional use both for the temporary parking and for the model home. Per the development text of the Kinder Crossing subdivision, they are allowed to have up to 2 model homes, so they fit there, but they still fall under the conditional use category, which brings them to us today. As the applicant mentioned, there are 7 parking spots that go in association with the model home. The only additional question that staff had was related to the hours of operation, which they provided to us. In addition, they would still need to go through all the normal processes as it consists with the home. So the home has already been approved via zoning certificate, and it is currently built, if not fully built at this moment. And then any signage that they would require, temporary or permanent, would also still need to get permitted through the administrative staff.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we're going to open it up to the public comment. I didn't see anybody else that was sworn in. Is there anyone for the public that wishes to speak? This is related to 805, 809 South Kintner Parkway, the D.R. Horton model homes. Model home. All right, we'll open it up to the commission. Any questions, comments?
I do have a couple questions. My first question
Let's have the applicant come up to the microphone. Thank you, sir.
my first question is how long do you expect it to take to create the parking spots and then subsequently sell your properties and then break that down and then put, a property, an actual home on there?
Sure. So I think right now we're in the process of finishing up for the model. So once that gets started, then the community will kind of have a launch from there. In terms of an estimated time, I would estimate 1 year to 2 years with the sections that we have. And so after all of those homes are sold and the community is coming to an end, that parking lot is essentially then going to be torn up. And then like the last home is going to be a residential home put on that lot as the community kind of closes back out. And then the model home then would also then be for sale for a residential use, turning it from the sales office that it's going to be for that allotted time to an actual home as well.
Awesome. And my last question is, I know sometimes model homes are built and then when it goes to be sold to someone, it's actually not in livable condition, meaning gas wasn't hooked up and certain things like that. So I know you've done this numerous times. Can you just walk us through what that actually entails? In here on page 30, it says, after which the structure will be converted to a single family dwelling. Just what does that entail? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest question is essentially right. It's like the garage. The garage portion is what gets turned into the quote unquote sales office for new home buyers, vendors as people come in and have their own questions. So then the garage is kind of then what's ripped out and then in place drywalled into the garage is set. So in terms of either gas lines or utility lines, that is already set up for a residential home already.
And it'll be of the same spec as every other home that is built.
Yes, in terms of any change to elevation or structural foundational things, it's just going to be what the garage is. Yes.
Sounds great. That's it. Easy
Awesome.
questions. Thanks.
Any other questions for the applicant? Any discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and close this public hearing. Thank you very much. Stick around, please. All right, next item on the agenda is the public hearing for the conditional use 82 East Granville Street, storage building office space. The applicant is requesting approval of conditional use for a storage building and office space for their construction company. The anticipated process is the applicant presentation, staff report, public comment, and commission questions. With that said, we do have new legal counsel, fresh in.
Welcome.
We've got you, you're undrafted free agent. We picked you up. And we have our legal counsel is recusing himself from this particular matter. So you want to introduce yourself? Sure.
Hi, my name is Ian Biak. I'm taking over for Vic on this matter. Yeah, I'm an attorney at Fishel County and working with the city on this.
Thank you. All right, would you like me to go through the the ground rules again and swearing people in, or would you prefer to do that?
I can certainly do it if you'd like.
Let's do that, sir.
So as for the first public comments and hearing, you are under oath. So we'll ask anyone who wants to make a comment to stand, provide or be sworn under oath that what you're saying is the truth. We do have a court's reporter, so please speak slowly and clearly so she can record everything that you're saying. And when you're called up, we will ask for your name and address. And again, we ask that you enunciate and speak clearly so we can record that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's go ahead and swear folks in. Again, this is related to 82 East Granville Street, storage building office space, the conditional use. If anyone wishes to testify for or against related to this matter, please stand now. This does not obligate you to testify, but it affords you the ability to testify. Sarah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will present will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth?
Great, thank you. All right, with that said, are there any exhibits that we wish to enter into the record?
Yes, there are 4 exhibits. The first is Exhibit A. It's 6 pages, and this is the application packet submitted by the applicant. Exhibit B is the staff report on this issue, or on this conditional application, and Exhibit B is 9 pages. Exhibit D is the legal description and plat of the property, and that's Exhibit C, and that is 2 pages. And then finally, Exhibit D, which is 5 pages, is the public hearing notice, and then the associated certified mail receipts documenting the service of the notice of public hearing.
Thank you, accept. All right, first item related to this public hearing is the applicant presentation. I'd ask the applicant to come on up, introduce yourself, introduce the project and what you're requesting, please. Usher. If anyone new speaks, just introduce yourself and state your name, please.
My name is Kurt Vogel.
Joe Ramelsberg.
And Carrie Ramelsberg.
Yeah, just go ahead with the presentation.
Yes, please.
Okay. We respectfully submit this request for consideration of zoning approval to permit the operation of a construction and remodeling business at the property located at 82 East Granville Street. Our business is a well-established multi-million-dollar company specializing in residential and commercial construction, home building, and remodeling services. The ownership team has strong local ties to the Sunbury community and is committed to investing both financially and personally in the continued growth and enhancement of the area. While successful and established, we are not a large corporate operation, but rather a locally rooted business made up of a small team of dedicated employees who exemplify strong work ethics, integrity, and community values. The subject property was previously utilized as an auto body and detailing shop. Granting conditional zoning approval for our proposed use is consistent with the historical use of the site and represents a logical continuation of commercial activity. Our proposed business aligns with the highest and best use of the land, ensuring the property remains productive while contributing positively to the surrounding area. As part of this proposal, we intend to invest several $100,000 in improvements to the existing structure on the property. These renovations will enhance the visual appeal, functionality, and overall value of the site, contributing positively to the surrounding corridor. Taxes on the property will also likely increase significantly. The nature of our business will include standard office operations, along with the storage of our company vehicles in the parking lot, tools of our trade, and light construction materials inside the building. Most of the construction materials we use are delivered directly to the job sites. However, we occasionally need to stock our trucks the night before with tools and materials for the following day. So we would have minor overnight storage of that nature. We occasionally get orders like cabinetry that are completed early and need stored inside until the job is ready. This is usually a matter of days or sometimes a few weeks. Our hours of operation are typically Monday through Friday, around 6 o'clock in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. We do not have evenings or overnight hours. We do not perform physical construction at our office. We don't do vehicle repairs and will not be doing vehicle repairs at this location. We might have minor vehicle maintenance that we would need to perform on site, but we work with vehicle repair shops for repairs and maintenance. We plan to explore working with such shops in the Sunbury area. Our company is committed to being a responsible neighbor, and we work closely with the city of Sunbury to ensure full compliance with all safety and zoning requirements, proper accommodations for any emergency and service vehicle access, minimal disruption to surrounding properties, ongoing property maintenance and upkeep. And in addition, our company will serve as a valuable local resource for future construction and remodeling needs within the community, while also supporting job opportunities and contributing to the local economy. This project represents an opportunity to bring a reputable, locally connected business into Sunbury while improving an existing property and supporting thoughtful growth. With city standards, values, and long-term development goals. We respectfully request your approval of the zoning appeal and appreciate your time and attention. Thank you very much.
Might have lost the microphone there. Thank you very much. Any of the other applicants, do you wish to state anything?
I didn't hear what you said.
We wrote that, I'm sorry. And we just were having our spokesperson provide our thoughts, so.
Thank you very much. We have the staff report. Alex, pretty thorough staff report.
Yes. So as the applicant said, they are applying for a conditional use for a storage building and office for their construction business in the C2 district located near the downtown square. One of the key issues or key questions that we'll need answered here is does what the applicant is applying for meet the storage building with associated office permitted conditional use within the code? The applicant has stated that they are going to store materials within the building. In the initial application, there was mention of minor storage outside, but based on what was presented here, I would ask the applicant if that is still a portion of this. And they also mentioned auto repair, but they said, as they said here, no auto repair will be taking place as well. Without going too far into details based on the first question of this, the key decision that needs to be made is, does this fit the storage building with associated office definition as per our code? And then potential impacts, if it does, would be vehicle traffic and driveway access, especially with the homes next door, potential noise from operations that is a heavier use than would be typically permitted in C2. And then the only other mentions I had were unclear details on outdoor storage, which they addressed, and then lack of defined hours of operation, which they addressed as well. The only other item I would ask the applicant to address is how potential trailers would be stored on site as well. There was mention of them initially, but I didn't hear anything here. And subsequent conversation with the applicant seemed to make it believe that it was just be the trucks outside. So I would want some clarity on that as well. But with that, I'll kick it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to public comment, did you want to get answers to the questions that you had?
No, if the applicant would like to step up and
Or the applicant come back up, I believe staff has a couple questions for you.
thank you. So just for clarity on the car repair, you guys said you would use the shops locally for repairs, but you said minor car repair. Can you go into detail on what the minor car repair at the site would be?
Bust the tire, fix the tire, lights, wipers, basic maintenance.
Got it. And then we've kind of gone back and forth on it, but storage outside, is there any particular items that would be stored, or are they all inside? Okay. And then as far as vehicles go, trailers, trucks, what on that would be parked on the property?
Potentially all of what you just said.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That answers all my questions.
Thank you very
Thank you.
All right, next we'll open it up to public comment. Does anybody that was sworn in, wish to speak? All right, please introduce yourself, state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Sure.
We really have to limit this to 3 minutes. Just wanted to state that.
Before I begin, I do want to ask a point of order. I'm here on behalf of 2 clients. I know that one of my clients would also like to speak.
Of course.
The subject.
Sure. 3 minutes per 3 minutes per person.
I'm sorry.
3 minutes per person.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. My name is Aaron Furstenberger. I'm an attorney from Columbus, Ohio. I'm here representing the interests of Branch Pizza and Firehouse Tavern, both of which are located actually right out the window here. I would also note that another restaurant which joins them, I believe it's Hua Yun Chinese restaurant, is identically situated to my client's interests as well. Firehouse Tavern has a patio that is directly adjacent to the piece of property in question. We're voicing our opposition tonight because the plan essentially, or the applicant's plan, calls for what we see as square peg and round. I believe that the application plays a little fast and loose with the term multi-use office building. It clearly indicates that they intend to use it for equipment storage, offices, truck repair. We didn't hear much about some of that thus far tonight. But my client's concern is that they're going to end up with an operating construction yard in their backyard, adjacent to the patio. I also think it's important, although we're not here to consider the variance tonight. I think that this conditional use request has to be considered in light of the variance request that has already been made for fencing. I don't think you can make a well-rounded decision as to this conditional use without it at least considering that pending variance. The application, I note, is devoid of any discussion of general compatibility with adjacent properties in the district, other than saying it is compatible. My clients would strongly disagree with that idea. If, from our perspective, a construction company comes with heavy equipment, with diesel, with trailers, and if those items are going to be parked out back, that's going to create a hardship and a hazardous situation, an inconvenient situation to my client's patrons and my clients. There's a reason that you don't see this type of use in the setting of this area. And that's simply because it's not compatible
Thank you, sir.
with other uses
Appreciate
in
it.
and about the area.
Thank you. What was your name?
Brendan Furstenberger.
Thank you. Next. If you have any documentation that you wish to provide to the commission or to staff, please do so. Anybody else wish to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Want to please state your name and address?
My name is Jody Teal, and I own the Firehouse Tavern located at 38 South Vernon Street. PO Box 564 for mailing purposes. I'm here tonight to voice my objection to this conditional use application. Although some of the notes that I made to discuss this evening may or may not apply at this point, because what I read in the application and what I read in the public documentation doesn't necessarily match what we just heard earlier, but I'm still gonna read them. I believe allowing additional use of this property for what the applicant has stated it will be used for is essentially granting permission for the building to be used as if it were zoned as an industrial property, rather than the C2 zoning that it currently set as. I believe this change would have a major impact on existing businesses located nearby. The proposed use of this business may achieve some of the strategies that support the vitality of the downtown area that the full picture and plan do not. The applicant has stated in this application that the property will be used for storage, office space, and occasionally auto repair of his construction vehicles. In a separate request, variance request to allow for a privacy fence in the front yard, the applicant indicated that he needed the privacy fence to be put around the property so that he could store his materials and vehicles, thus indicating that he intends to use the front yard of the business for storage. C2 zone properties do not allow for this, and neither do light industrial. For the applicant to fully achieve what he intended to do in the application and the variance application with his property, it's my understanding that the applicable zoning code would be for industrial property, which is not something that we would see in the setting of the Sunbury Square. Conformance with ordinance code and general standards found on page 5 of the application states that the proposed use is consistent with the intent of the zoning ordinance and section 81.11.29 general standards for conditional uses, in that the use will not adversely affect adjacent properties. This is false. The Firehouse Tavern has a patio located at the back of the business, a commercial storage facility that will have regular traffic, including deliveries, pickups, etc., will create an unpleasant environment for patrons to dine and enjoy the peaceful space that they've enjoyed for the last 20 years. In addition, the noise and smell from diesel fuel will disrupt the dining experience. Traffic impacts are minimal and consistent with existing conditions, was also stated in the application. What about deliveries? How will the applicant receive deliveries? Will semis be required to block off Granville Street so that skid loaders can be loaded and driven to the lot for drop-offs? What about commercial construction equipment? Will that be stored on the property? And how will that equipment arrive and depart from the location? 2 points combined with the same concerns. The site layout supports safe access and circulation and no adverse impacts to public health, safety, or welfare. What about emergency services vehicles? How will they access the apartment above Branch Pizza that only has access in the back? And the patio at Firehouse Tavern, and
Thank you, ma'am.
exit the scene if construction vehicles
Thank you, ma'am.
and drills are blocking the entry and exit to the.
Thank you, ma'am. Very cool. Thank you. If you have further comments, you can drop them off this thing. Thank you very much. Next up. Mr. Barry Bennett, come on up. We got one coming up and then we'll go to you, Mr. Chen. Chen? Barry?
Barry Bennett, 272 High Street, also 75 East Cherry, which is the property abutting this one. Okay. I'm in objection to this conditional use application. I'm going to address specifically the applicant's bullet points with some comments of my own. So this from the first section entitled Conformance with Ordinance and General Standards section, the applicant states use will not adversely affect adjacent properties. I believe it absolutely will adversely affect adjacent properties. The usage will restrict access to both ends of the alleyway by cutting off one avenue of access completely. The only way in or out of Cherry Street would be by somebody backing one way or the other, which would be a pretty severe traffic hazard considering the traffic on Cherry Street. Applicant states traffic impacts are minimal and consistent with existing conditions. I do not believe that's the case. Considerable truck traffic is proposed with no restriction on the size of the trucks. There may be constant use of the alley by business trucks, delivery trucks, and construction trucks. This is all in excess of existing conditions, and there is nothing specified in the proposal leaving all these possibilities open. The applicant states the site layout supports safe access and circulation. It actually does the opposite. It completely restricts one end of the alley from any circulation at all. The only way in or out for existing users of this alley will be one way in, one way out to Cherry Street, causing vehicles to back in or out, either of which is hazardous with existing traffic. Similarly, this restricts other deliveries, trash, or other services and emergency vehicle access. Applicant states no adverse impacts to public health, safety, or welfare. I believe blocking one end of the alley seriously restricts access for emergency vehicles, garbage trucks, and maintenance vehicles, which are all adverse impacts. This is from the statement evaluating economic effects on the adjoining properties. The applicant states the proposed use is not anticipated to have any negative economic impact on adjoining properties. I believe that closing off one end of the alley in this way does have no economic impact. One of the stated uses was an equipment maintenance building, which we heard the opposite tonight, so we'll have to clear that one up. Could produce noise and fumes, which would also impact surrounding businesses. As far as storage, this would likely impact traffic in a negative way. I'm kind of curious how trailers are going to get up and down that driveway out to Granville Street without blocking Granville Street. Applicant states the use will not generate noise, glare, odor, or fumes. So I feel better than this statement we already covered. And one from the staff report. Development represents reuse and activation of an underutilized site.
Thank you, sir.
Continue.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Would you like to submit the comments to staff?
I can drop this off or I can email a digital copy to Alex. I have 5 copies if anybody wants.
Yes, please bring them up.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next up, who would like to speak with commission? Jen? Come on, sir. Hello.
It's the chamber.
South Vernon Street, that you might have.
But I cannot speak very well for you today. But I went for my dog is on a check for mine. You?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. I speak Chinese, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
How you don't understand, okay? I use my dog.
We're going to do our best.
Okay, so sorry, I don't know this. Right? Say something and going to so then you will not be spending for 854 feet. Sorry.
I think if you all know, my uncle Bobby had owned this place since 1978, and then he passed it on to us. We only own this property for the past year. Knowing if this had been the case, the probably would not have taken over because it will, definitely impact the business. Just to keep it short and sweet, we just want to echo what you're looking very excited, you can say agree to the road that impacts the business.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Would anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Sworn in. State your name, address, please.
Hi, my name is Julie Aaron. I live at 116 Sunbury Meadows Drive. I'll be honest, I'm someone who believes pretty strongly in property owners' rights. On the surface, this feels straightforward. Ramco purchased the property and wants to move their business into it. The often libertarian leaning girl who lives in these shops, do it. When you zoom out, that same girl says, oh, wait a second, because that's where it gets a little tricky. When the way one property is used starts to affect the people and businesses around it, you're no longer talking about the rights of one property owner, you're talking about four. The property requesting conditional use rezoning is located just behind Firehouse Tavern, YN and Branch Pizza. 3 anchor businesses that have helped downtown Sunbury thrive, and in some cases for decades. For years, that rear space has been quietly supporting how these businesses operate day to day. Deliveries, trash, reservice, all the requirements to keep them running. When you introduce a construction and storage use in that same space, it changes how it functions. And I don't think we can look at this as a small change, because if you vote to allow this conditional use permit, Ramco's next step will be to request a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals for the installation of a fence. We know this because they are scheduled to go before the BZA on May 18th with that request. That fence is required for the type of storage they are proposing. That fence will prevent these 3 businesses from continuing to use that shared space the way they have for nearly 40 years. Space that they rely on for trash, grease, service, and day-to-day operations. And when you look at section S 811130 of the Sunbury zoning code, it states a conditional use has to be harmonious in the area. It cannot change the essential character of the neighborhood, and it cannot be disturbing to neighboring uses. And when you apply that standard here, I don't think it meets it. So I think the next question becomes, what happens next? What happens if these businesses can't use that space the way they have for decades? Where does everything go? Does it move to the front? Even if it's screened, are we really prepared to have multiple restaurants potentially storing trash and food waste facing the square, especially in the summer? Because when we talk about walkability and improving downtown, is that what this looks like? That is what this looks like in practice. And beyond that, these are businesses that have invested back into our community for years. So this isn't just about one property or business decision. It's about how those decisions ripple out into the rest of the community. So if you haven't, it's not already clear, I'm here to ask you tonight to vote no on this conditional use application. This isn't just one vote, it's a reflection of how seriously we take our zoning code and how that shapes the future of Sunbury. Supports the businesses who have helped make it the amazing place that we call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? I do not believe you were sworn in, Mr. Dages, but we can swear you in. We are going to do that. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak that was not sworn in, so we can do it? Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will present will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
You can state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Donald Davis. I'm a business owner at 26 South Vernon Street. I don't think the property owner is here, but I've been at that location for 30 years. So I think some of the variances will have an adverse effect of all the business owners on South Vernon Street. That alleyway parking lot has been commonly used for 30 years. We've had issues of water. I'll just address that. Because my concern is everything flows to my building and the tube or the
Downspout drain.
the drainage pipe runs under my building. This wastewater goes under my building. And I don't know if the village even documents that, but it's clear that. So whatever it is or how they resurface that, the water drainage will affect my building and other buildings. So.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Mr. Foreman?
Mark Foreman, we own 30 Vernon Street. My property is the last property off of Mr. Bettis Alley. With direct access. My wife runs Foreman Insurance Agency. Purchased the property in 2014. I'm a real estate agent at Foreman Realtors next door, 28 South Vernon. I've got questions for the applicant, and or you guys.
You can frame up the question and.
Number one is, I appreciate you bringing business to Sunday, especially small businesses. It's a great thing. Just trying to understand in particular a little more. How many employees does the applicant have? And how many cars we anticipate will be parked in that parking lot we're going to build throughout the day?
I would keep rolling.
Keep rolling.
You got 2 minutes and.
And then how many construction vehicles and or equipment are going to be parked overnight? The driveway going, the applicant owns, is 17 feet wide, property line to property line. The gravel is no more than 10 feet. I drive a quad cab 3/4 ton full size pickup truck. And I cannot pull out on that street without going left of center because of the way it's designed. So question is, I'm curious the applicant of what their access is going to be and what that's going to look like, assuming they'll be driving trucks in and out of their property. 30 Vernon Street and 28 Vernon Street, we remodeled, we gutted, and we took the liberty of that time to make it what we wanted, but we had to bring it up to current code. So our standards were brought up to current code, everything inside our buildings. My question is, when a property is purchased, whether it's conditional use or not, okay, the parking lot's a huge concern for us. The water drainage is a major concern. And this has really nothing to do with the applicant, it's just the nature of the property. But when you start parking 5, 10 cars, construction equipment, before it's coming in and out, the water runs faster. It's a gravel parking lot right now. Your code, whether it's industrial, C2, C3, requires a 6-inch concrete floor with 4 inches of asphalt. Continued parking area. It requires 6 inches of curb. So in September 2014, we installed a catch basin. All the water drains to the back of our building. The storm sewer is right there. We were told by the village to provide it. I've emptied it 3 times when it was full of gravel.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Does anybody else like to speak? Mr. Foreman?
I'm Mike Foreman. I'm going to follow up on his last comment. I'm 28 South Vernon, PO Box 71 for people who need mail things. I don't get mail at 28 South Vernon. The water he's talking about, we had water 18 inches up on our back door within 6 months of us moving, totally redoing our thing there, building. So we made provisions. I replaced the catch basin. We made all the stormwater provisions. I was told at least 10 years ago that the water off of this building would go to the north or to the east parking lot. There's no reason why the gutters couldn't be reversed and we get that water out of there. We never have. I sold the building and I sold all 3 of these buildings. So they all have wet basements. I'm a sump pump for the square. Anytime you have undue pressure, I get water in there. I've used the access. For you, those of you that don't know, There was a fire on the east side of the square in 1927. The entire square, that side of the square burnt. And all those brick buildings were brick because of the fire. And all the drainage and all the design and the back alleys and all that stuff has been there at least since then. So he mentioned 30 years. I'm gonna tell you, it's working on 100 years. Okay. Now we're talking about changing that. We're gonna cut that off. There'll be no trade-offs between property rights. We'll still get to take care of the water. We won't have any access. Okay, I just don't see right. Okay. So we're opposed to that. The other thing we're opposed to is that we sold the industrial park out here at Kent Parkway. Okay, and that's industrial zoning. That's not commercial. That's a higher grade. So the reality is you don't allow front storage in the industrial park. We had a lot of people who buy an industrial park and the city did not allow any front storage. They have no rear storage. The building sets on the back of their lot. They have no side storage because there's parking on one side and there's an alley on the other side. So the only place they got to store anything is in the front. And that doesn't even meet industrial zone, let alone commercial. So this is beyond the reach. Okay. Again, I'm all about property rights. This is my 51st year in real estate. Die hard property rights person. But again, somebody else mentioned this is going to affect 3 or 4 businesses. No, this affects the entire east side of the square. And a lot of people spend a lot of money on the buildings over there to have be bright and invested in the community. And I'm all about that building being improved in the back, but put a fence around there and close the accesses off. It's just, it's just not so. So that's it. I can't believe it.
Hey, you did it. Right there. Would anyone else like, come on up, man. You were sworn in, correct? All right, great. State your name and your address.
My name's Lori Kirkendall and we live at 78 East Randall Street. So our house is right up against their driveway. And I appreciate all of our businesses in town. We love living in Sunbury. We've lived here for 37 years. And never had issues. But I'm concerned about, are we talking just pickup trucks? Or are we talking about pickup trucks with a trailer? What's the size of the trailer? How does that get in and out? There was an issue with a trash truck 4 years ago that broke the wall. And that wall is somewhat, deals with our foundation situated, so we're concerned about that. The other questions I had have pretty much been answered, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Come on up, man. You were sworn in, correct?
Hey.
All right, great. Thank you.
Chuck, 3040 Green Cook Road. I'm gonna be probably the outlier here in support. I have known Joe and Carrie for several years now, plus Bill Kurt, and I grew up in this town. And the problem that I'm having is I think I know change is scary. I know nobody likes anything new coming in. Totally respect that. You say the word data center around here, everybody panics. But I can tell you these guys are homegrown. They're authentic, they're caring people. They are a small family-owned company. Most of their employees are family. Probably, I'm guessing, I don't know their ins and outs of their businesses. Probably 10 employees-ish, give or take, with probably 7 of them being family. We know something about that in these parts. And these guys are not some giant corporation. They're not coming in, they're not looking to create noise, drama. They want to operate a business that they have successfully grown out of their home in a place where they can actually bring everybody together. They're not going to be loud. They're not going to be commandeering space. They're not going to be parking any more vehicles really, honestly, than what an auto body retail shop could potentially have. Totally get it on the water standpoint, totally get it on the access and the fence standpoint. But here's the thing, these are things that can be worked out with people. These are things that can be addressed as needed and as created. I think that maybe some people got off on the wrong foot here because I know these guys personally. I have watched them pick up the pieces of some people whose builders flaked out on them. They didn't have to step in, and they stepped in and they helped out. They're going to be the type of people that will work with you. Now, I do have a question. That everybody keeps calling it an access and an alley, but is it correct zoning wise that this is actually not an access but a driveway
of 3 parcels that you guys would want to have them assemblage, should this proceed into one continuous parcel. Is that correct?
You got 50 seconds, man.
That's fine. I guess, oh yeah, you're not gonna respond. Sorry, I'm waiting for a response. So to my point, if you go and look at the report, staff report, there is a driveway. There is a parking place, and then there is the actual parcel that the building is on. I would encourage people to understand that, to Martin's point, you are not going to get a large truck in there. These guys don't have heavy duty, they've got pickup trucks, they're construction guys. They're not gonna be pulling in massive pieces of equipment. There's not a whole lot of things that are going to be fitting down that narrow driveway. To that point, it is a driveway, it's not an access. And it is something that, should someone else come in and want to buy in here, could end up doing the same thing. They're gonna end up blocking out. So I'll go before you tell me to go.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Can't swear in, should we do that now?
You did not swear in.
You spoke.
Yes, you should. Let's have you both stand up, please. Thank you.
Get that.
Thank you very much.
We swear or from since we presented was true, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, we are on to commission questions. Comments? Any questions, comments?
Not right now.
Any comments, questions?
I think we have a lot of questions.
Sure.
But I think it's more about the discussion.
Sure.
At-
So we
in
can
the
add
second part
that in the public hearing, which is being documented on public record for this public hearing. We can also close this and do it in our normal session.
Correct. Session.
So would you prefer to do stuff? Okay, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. With that said, we are going to go ahead and discuss the conditional use for 82 East Granville Street storage building office space. This is going to seem a little bit repetitive. This is just not the public hearing portion, but this is where we will make a decision or defer until later action. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use for a storage building and office space for their construction company. The anticipated process is the commission discussion. And if we can have the applicant come up, I know there were some questions, and if you can't answer, it's okay. We're just going to try to be as specific as possible on some of the questions that I heard. And then we'll open it up for discussion as well. Again, this is not an interrogation. This part is a little less formal than the last, but we're trying to get to an understanding. Can you give us a specific number or a cap on number of employees?
Currently, we have 10 W2. Or
You see your business growing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're opposite building.
Okay, great, thank you. Number of vehicles on site?
Overnight, I mean, in general, the guys don't take home trucks.
There's got water ton, so listen.
The guys have take home trucks, so the trucks will be there in the morning, they'll be outside, they may come back in the afternoon. There's a couple other trucks that will probably be parked inside.
Looks like 5 pickup trucks. And you want to know about the equipment as well.
I do, and trailers and anything else you would call.
And then a skid loader and 2 lifts.
Okay.
All of which cannot be there at the same time. Like you said, it was small, and if they're there, typically they're gonna be inside. That's the whole point of putting the car bay garage in the middle of the build. Do you guys see the prints that we submitted?
So the prints of the modified building?
Yes.
Good one. Sure.
They were
That were,
we did the application.
Yeah, the prints for the building were not included in the application. The site plan was.
I mean, is that something we need to consider?
Typically not for inside of the building. I think any detail you provide would be enough here.
So the equipment won't be inside.
Okay. Maybe probably the question on everybody's mind, what's gonna be outside the building?
Nothing. There's no
Nothing.
storage. No, I have no intended storage on the exterior of the building.
There may be some pickups.
Yes, yeah, a truck or two here and there overnight if I have to, if there's not room inside, but that's it. And much less than was there with the auto body shop.
We're really trying to steer this line because the BZA and the Board of Zoning Appeals has their issue, the fence. And this is a conditional use, so, not even gonna go down there yet. Okay.
But does it all tie together?
No, I think these are separate issues. Is that true? These are separate issues, conditional use and a variance or for the zoning appeals.
Perfect.
Okay. So we're talking about the conditional use. Okay. All right, okay, access, ingress, egress. How do you plan? Okay, if you bring a truck with a trailer in there, how are you gonna do that?
If I were to bring a truck and a trailer in there, it would be impossible for me to turn the truck and trailer around. I would have to disconnect, use a skid loader, turn it around and get out. That's why it's, pardon me?
So there's gonna be a skid loader?
Potentially. I mean, I don't have any, it's inside.
Okay.
And it would just be used to turn the trailer around, so if you connecting that pull it back out. So we're always pulling it in straight forward, pulling out.
Okay.
Straight forward.
Okay.
Where would the deliveries occur? To the
They
facility?
pull our trucks. I don't have any big deliveries that I can do there. Most of them do at the job site.
You mentioned cabinetry that would come in on your own vehicles.
Why did you select this building? Your reasoning for buying this building versus another?
Grew up in Sunday, was super happy to get back to here. It fit the needs that I needed square footage wise. On the inside, it's exactly what we're looking for.
Alex, I would like to see the plan for the building, because when we talk about it being office and storage versus just storage, I would like to see how much of this building is office versus storage.
One of my questions, just from hearing from the community, people talked about access, and yes, on my paper, it says driveway. It's labeled as a driveway, and to me, if I'm just looking down, it looks like a driveway and then a parking lot and then a building. Is this taking away access that people have had in the past to other businesses?
Then we are going to discuss this.
Okay.
That's what she's asking.
Okay, so that's separate then.
It would only be if the fence.
Okay, which is BZA. Okay, gotcha. But for what we're doing here, conditional use.
But it is.
Perfect. And I think that, I drove by it today very slowly. And just, I did notice, of course, the walls, right? And thank you to the neighbor that came and talked about that. And that is just a question. If there was an accident, somebody just kind of backing out and hitting that wall, is it already known that it's like your responsibility to fix it in this?
Which, the wall on which side, the left or the right? As you're going in. The one on the left is actually mine.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I didn't know. I just wanted to think about, the neighbors in that way. So good.
You talk about, you have an office component.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start there. What does the office look like for your business?
Right now, it's me working.
Sure. Proposed. I'll ask the whole question, and then this gets down to the heart of the conditional use, and are we going down the path of applying conditions? So there's an office component and there's a warehousing component or storage component. Can you describe how you will operate your building? What are you going to do in the office? These are very specific questions related to C2 zoning, so I'm not trying to bait you.
But as we mentioned, we have 10 total employees.
Yeah.
Full-time construction Okay, so they're always out and about working at the job sites. They're not spending, they may, gather there in the morning. If they take a truck and they bring it back at night.
Yeah.
But they're going all day. Because right now there's 3 people who are engaged in admin. They're all part-time. Joe is the owner, and so he's the tenant. And so basically what we probably be doing with it at this point is just we might have a team meeting now and can meet in the morning, maybe at the end of the day, and then everybody goes their separate ways. So
That mic's on. Mike, is there? Check the button.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
So again, most of the time, the employees, 6 of the 10 or 7 of the 10 are going to go out and about. And we may show up for some admin work, but even that is likely going to continue to be remote at this point. So it would just be an opportunity or a place for people to convene, have meetings, shared opportunities to discuss things, growth opportunities, discuss project management, et cetera, and then everybody goes their separate ways.
We're a construction company.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about storage, or warehousing. Typically in industrial.
So what we're storing would typically be extra tools that we don't need for a job site specifically. A jackhammer stored, extra drills, safety gear, wood that we've brought back from one job site didn't need, store it rather than throw it away. Cabinets were mentioned, occasionally we would do that. I would buy a bunk of plywood because it's cheaper that way, and then we use it, then I do a new one. The building is much bigger than we need right now, so we bought it for potential growing into it. So the storage is very limited.
Skid steer?
Skid steer is only one of our pieces of equipment that occasionally goes out to job sites. It doesn't even need to be there. If you're frowning on the skid steer, I can keep it at the other location.
It's not really that. I think Mr. Foreman hit on this. The part that purchase a property that's in C2 zoning. C2 zoning is kind of downtown commercial. They're very specific provisions, what is permitted, and then what is permitted by, I'll call it by exception or with conditions. I'm trying to make this work. I think what Mr. Foreman mentioned earlier is really resonating with me that we don't even permit front yard storage of equipment and trucks. And when you said skid steer, like my ears perked up because I think there's more that I'm maybe just not thinking of. Trailers, things like that. I have a hard time thinking you can get that all in the building. And I'm not trying to go to the whole fence discussion, but this isn't an industrial area and it feels like this is an industrial use. That's where I'm bumping up against. How do we apply enough conditions where it doesn't impact the health, general welfare, all the things that our code says of the businesses next door?
It's a small construction. That's all I can tell you. I mean, as far as the skid loader, it may never be there. I listed it on the application because we own it. But we also have the property where I can keep all that stuff currently. The main use of that building is office space so that we have room to grow our administrative portion of the business.
Understood. I guess for our staff and our commission, do you have other questions?
I mean, I go back to just validating if there is blueprints for what this building is going to be, and to be able to see what that looks like. When you say primarily used as office space, and I would suspect that the square footage would be agreeance to that.
We can pull up the images if that helps. The plans are in the OneDrive, so if that helps.
I mean, I'm looking at legal counsel. Is this something that we should be considering as like a condition? I'm having a hard time getting to the condition point, understanding that the office and the storage component, it's a stretch to get there right now.
Yeah, I think reviewing this will help to determine whether this fits into that office with storage unit conditional use, so I have no issues with viewing it if the board or if the commissioners want to.
I think for my,
Let's do it, and I wanna just look through the office uses that are permitted. I don't see anything related to construction. Nothing. So we can keep doing this, but I don't see any C2 construction.
I struggle to
Permitted
understand,
offices.
I struggle to understand the commercial part of this particular use of the building is where my concerns.
Right. You look at the plans.
Yeah.
You wanna walk us through this?
What do you mean by commercial?
Well, if,
That's sort
yeah, as the mayor was saying,
Have you read our code?
Yeah.
I'm being serious. I'm not joking about that. Have you read C2 zoning?
I can't say that I have.
Okay.
the offices
I'll
go
give you
into
a general, like the office uses, insurance agencies, insurance broker, real estate offices, law offices, physicians, surgeons, dentists, dental surgeons, osteopathic surgeons, chiropractors, podiatrists. Not gonna read all of them. That's kind of one category. And you're getting into credit agencies, personal credit institutions, loan offices, offices of veterinarians, domestic animals. Like it's, I didn't say anything that was around like construction company. It's not even something that like blends or bleeds into that.
So we're office where? Workman Fence is office where? Are they similar? I'm just asking.
I'm just saying this is your conditional use,
Correct.
all right? Each conditional use is handled on a case by case basis. I don't know. I'm just answering questions related to this particular application. You want to take us through this?
Ground floor, this would be potentially for trucks and everything. Or whatever I could fit in here, just a garage area. This is room for growth storage. This portion and this portion and this portion are all just empty right now, have no use. Room for growth. Break room, mechanical room, restroom. And then if you go to the second floor.
First.
Oh, go back down. This here is the second floor thing.
No. You are earlier.
Next ground floor.
Go up. Right there.
there we go.
Right there.
Mezzanine. This is office space up here, office space up here. Both of which are above the storage areas that were on the sides.
It sounds like the applicant to me is amenable to keeping things off-site if we need them off-site. And we'll kind of, I think we have the idea of what they want to do. They want to have office space for their family-owned business and to be able to have some trucks. I can see where the space is very attractive for that. So I think, I don't know, if for us, if we need, okay, tools that are in this category, hand tools, things under 100 pounds, whatever that may look like, it sounds like they might be open to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, except for I respectfully disagree and say this is not the space for them.
Okay.
So this feels more like homes, foot traffic businesses, restaurants.
Mm.
Commercial. And we only have 4 people here tonight. And I mean, one thing, just a couple paths. We're either voting on conditions and approving conditions. And the applicant will go on and will abide by the conditions to be able to get occupancy. We're voting no. Or we're deferring until our next meeting when we have more members. And I don't know do you know of anybody missing our next meeting?
As I say, I think Mark is the only one confirmed so far.
Mrs. Miller was supposed to be here, but had an emergency at the end. And the reason I mentioned that is because at this point, I'm a no on the conditional use based on the letter of the law of what tests are required to be able to get to the point. Failed test number one, the use of portions of such buildings for storage can be combined with office use for other portions of the building. And then such storage buildings do not include buildings commonly considered warehouses or buildings. I mean, we're not doing storage outside, we're doing storage inside, and that's like when we start to get into the warehouse portion.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a little bit of guidance here from the commission. Because you need 4 to pass. That's
I would agree with you, and just looking at the blueprints themselves, it doesn't look like it's intended necessarily primarily as an office, but more primary as storage, secondary office. I am on the no side myself, so just primarily looking at the facts of what are presented here.
I would say today we heard from the community that brought up really good questions, things I hadn't thought of, things that I feel like is good to stew on. I would be in favor of deferring to the next meeting, if we're open to that.
Yeah, I think beyond the general conditions, or beyond the immediate concern is also the general standards. And I have a couple concerns with the general standards and what the community has mentioned regarding this. So we can defer if we want, or I'm comfortable with moving forward with a decision tonight.
okay. Like, are you talking about like number 2 will be designed?
Number 2,
constructed, operated,
harmonious. Yep.
harmonious.
It will not create an undue burden on the area with the streets. General welfare.
So just to be clear, if we voted on it today, we would have needed 4 to vote yes.
In the affirmative, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So can we just add that, yeah. It's a head.
Mike.
So again, it's a headquarters office, and it's just an opportunity, a place for us to gather the employees to meet as we continue to grow, to add admin staff. As we've tried to explain, we're a construction company. We're not constructing anything there. We're going out into the world. We work on commercial buildings. We work on residential homes. We do build from the ground up. But we do that all somewhere else. And then I think one of the concerns was vehicle repair. And again, if we're going to have some pickups there, we may do some general minor maintenance, but we always take those in to an actual truck repair shop to have those worked on. So we don't do any of that there. So this again is just an opportunity for having a headquarters building where all of our employees can gather for meetings as needed and then go their way. And then basically an opportunity for us to invest in the community, get to know all of you and work with you, dine at your facilities, and basically just be a contributing member of the community. So that's all we're trying to do. We looked at this space, it seemed to fit that need. And, so here we are, and it's kind of like, what can we do to assure you that we're not going to cause any harm to the community? The goal is to help. And we want to get vested. We want to work with subcontractors in the area. We want to, as time permits and growth allows, hire people from the area. So it's kind of like, that's all we want to do.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully that fits the C2.
I think it's clear. You guys have, sounds like you have a good business. That's where no one's trying to say you're going to come in and try to cause a ruckus and a havoc. The concern is around the commercial zoning district and the zoning ordinance within that area. And it does not fit the rest of the downtown square and especially the portion of the square that your building is located.
My question is, if they were to say, you know what, can we make the whole building just headquarters, not storage, not we can drive our car in, just office buildings for our people, a great conference space to gather? Would that make this different? Would that make this a different conversation? It's okay if you say, no, I'm just genuinely questioning that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's an uphill battle. I mean, you purchase the property, it's a C2 zone. And that's the part where I just keep on coming back to. Yeah.
Okay.
We can
Makes sense.
defer it 1 month. I really don't think you're gonna meet the test of being able to have the type of office space or the storage space that C2 zoning I mean, basically prohibits. That's the gist of it.
And I'll be clear, I am okay to vote on it because I do understand what you're saying.
Okay.
It's our job to say, is it within those parameters? I guess I was just trying to say, hey, what options do they have moving forward, maybe after this? So I am okay voting on it.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and vote.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the conditional use.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Long. But the reason I'm gonna vote no on this is because I believe we failed to meet the test to permit conditional zoning. As well as you do not meet general standards of applicable conditional uses. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
No.
Mr. Long,
No.
Mr. Palma,
No.
Mrs. Stark,
No.
4 nays, motion denied.
Thank you for your time. Next item on the agenda is preliminary plat, Drees Homes, PMI Miller Farms Limited. The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat and associated variance request for a proposed subdivision, including 27 homes located off Old 3C Highway, just south of Big Walnut Elementary School.
Mr. Mayor. Hey, Mayor. Mr. Mayor, we're switching out legal counsel right now.
Thank you.
For you just a moment.
Need some seatings opened up if anybody would like to grab.
We'll
a
be
seat.
able to, so, we have the exhibits. Perfect.
Yes.
I didn't see you just trying to.
These are. There. Ready.
Ready to roll? Ready to go? All right, again, this is the preliminary plat, Drees Homes, PML Miller Farms, LTD. Applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat associated variance request for proposed subdivision, including 27 homes located off of Old 3C Highway, just south of Big Walnut Elementary School. The applicant is here. If you could state your name and introduce yourself.
Hey, Mayor, we did not do the model home. We didn't do the model home agenda item, which was after 82.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that. Sorry about that. I'm sorry, sir. All right. Yeah, we normally don't do the reverse order, but I think because we had a recusal, we tried to streamline those two. Obviously, I'm butchering that. Okay, we're on to item 4, which is a conditional use 805, 809 South Kintner Parkway model home. I'm gonna, in the spirit of time, this is probably the most straightforward conditional use, especially for our new commission members. This is basically for a period of time, there's going to be one or two of the homes or two of the lots that are used for a certain purpose to sell the homes that are in the neighborhood. If there are any questions, okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve.
I'm gonna second.
Second by Mr. Long. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mrs. Stark? Yes. 4 yeas, motion approved.
All right, now, sorry about that. Got you back up here. I'm not going to read it for the third time. Dries Homes preliminary plat. Floor is yours. Okay. That was an accident, correct?
Yeah, it's not accident.
Good, thank you. What's your name, sir?
I'm a land acquisition manager for Dries Homes. I'm accompanied by our division president, Andy Artsner, and Kimley Horn, our engineering firm. Again, just as a reminder, I know we were here just a few weeks ago, but Dries Homes is a new builder to the area. We're based out of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, and we are approaching our 100th year in business here in 2028. So home building is not new to us, but it will be new in Central Ohio and specifically Sunbury. We are here to review the preliminary plat for what was called Miller Farms. And I guess we can address your first comment because we will be changing the name to Walnut Ridge, which we will change once we resubmit. So again, this is a 27 lot subdivision. The lots are 80 feet wide, and based off of comments from an informal hearing, we have added access points to both the Legacy Trail and the elementary school. We also have an access point off the entry there that will go to a maintained pond that will be cut weekly, maintained by the HOA, and have benches for fishing and whatever they'd like to do out there. With that being said, that is the short overview of the subdivision, and I'd like to open it up to you guys for questions. So yeah.
We'll get to those shortly. We have the staff report. May as well just hang up here. I think this will be fairly brief.
Quick. Yep. So as the applicant said, 27 lot, single family home subdivision just south of Big Walnut Elementary on about 15 acres of land. Right now it's currently zoned R2, so we'll need to meet the R2 zoning standards. Once we get to that point, that'll be more of a discussion for the final plat. My original recommendation was to approve with the contingency that they provide a map or provide a plat showing the trail connectivity. Based on talk with legal counsel, we will need to do a public hearing for the variance. So at next meeting, we won't have to have a public hearing, just based on the writing anyway. So I think this will be a good time for any comments for the applicant. One, to further out the details, they already addressed the name, but the trail connectivity they already addressed as well. One of my other notes was based on the open space that was shown. So the open space calculations exceeded our 20%, but I wanted a little more detail based on the area around the basin, specifically how much is the basin taking of that open space, just a further breakdown of how the open space will be used and the percentages if possible. But yeah, that was all I had for this.
Ask a question of staff. Are you asking that question because our code requires a certain amount to be usable? Is that what you're getting at?
So yes, but also just the breakdown for more clarity as well. So I think the eye test that I did would make it usable. I think they have that number provided, but I'd rather verify it with the number as well.
Mr. Mayor, if I may add to, with respect to the variance portion of this, pursuant to the operation of the subdivision regulations, the zoning ordinance, and the charter, actually that variance needs to be heard by both the Board of Zoning Appeals. The variance relates to the length of the cul-de-sac, and that's what they're requesting the variance from within the plat required, or the plat that's been submitted. So that will actually have to go, and I believe we can get that on the next hearing, which would be, or the next meeting, which would be before the week before this. So with respect to the issues, particularly about the length of the cul-de-sac, that those would be more appropriately handled with BZA next month.
Okay. I just have a question on that. So this is related to the length of the cul-de-sac. It's a single variance. We've approved cul-de-sacs this length before or around this length. It'll come to the BZA. Then is there a certain waiting period before it comes back to the Planning and Zoning Commission?
No, that one could come right back up. Yeah.
And we would be approving the variance as well?
BZA would be approving the variance, you would be approving the preliminary plat.
Got it. Okay. 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 Cool. Anything else, Alex?
No, just on your example of other instances where we have other cul-de-sacs of length, we have a couple that are over 600, but none of them are towards the distance of the 1400 that is here. I believe the one in Magnolia Park is around 700, between 650 and 700. And then the other example I could find is across from Big Walnut Middle School in, trying to remember the name of it, Barleycorn, which is right down the way over here. That one kind of does shoehorn at the end. That one's a little closer. It's up towards 1,000, but that would be our closest example of one that was this size.
Avena Court.
Avena was under by like 10 feet. They had like 590. Yeah, I was surprised by that one as well.
Anything else?
Oh, that was it.
Do we have the access points on these maps? Or is that what you're saying to the trail and to the school, or is that what you're saying for the next?
That was what I was recommending for the next one. Yeah. So it's not on this one, but with the applicant back next month, if they were able to provide that too, they could certainly bring that in.
Can you give us an idea of what lots you're planning on going between for the trail connection?
Yeah, I actually have, we got your comments and we're actually able to print out, preliminary landscape plans that show the attachment.
Awesome.
Where they're going to attach. If you'd like me to share this with you now.
Sure, may as well. We'll have Mr. Hennessy, you can hand those out for you. Thank you for doing that.
And then there's this one as well. Actually, it's a preliminary landscaping.
The kind of past sidewalks that we're
Yes.
looking at there that connects to the, thank you. That is connection to the school, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there a reason why you didn't bring at least one of the sidewalks down to Old C?
I mean, from here to here?
Yep.
I'm not sure. Let me ask.
Hi, Mike Reeves, civil engineer with Kimley Horn. We didn't bring it down simply because there wasn't anything to connect it to. I don't think there's any adverse opinion to bringing it down. I think it was more brought it there. Is it able to connect to anything? And so we focus more on the looping and connection to the elementary school and to the Legacy Trail.
We will have sidewalks there eventually. We'll talk to our engineer. I don't think those plans are not nearly baked. I'd say they're still raw ingredients at this point, but we will have sidewalks there eventually. So
Yeah, I was thinking one, maybe the school bus stop needs to be down there.
that's
Not
good.
for the elementary, but for other schools, or future development, possibly, who knows, in the future may also do sidewalks near that area, and then we get them interconnected with each other. So those are my two reasons for that question.
Good call. Awesome. Thank you. So you'd be amenable to extending that?
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we see the trail connection here. It looks like between lot 10 and 11.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Is this a full resubmittal then? Is that what we're asking them to do?
As far as the variance,
No, I mean, for the preliminary plat, are they coming back next month? That's my question.
Yes, they can come back next month. You guys have 60 days to. Are you trying?
I think we should probably table it in light of the fact that it is going to the BZA next month. This makes sense to table at this point, and they can come back next month for sure, but.
Maybe they'll modify the name, even though that's been communicated to us, they'll officially do that.
Yeah, the applicant can modify the application officially, and that way it's on the record, and that way what's presented next time will be the sidewalks all the way down to Route 3, as well as the sidewalks since you reference in here for connectivity to the trail as well as to the school. And that way it can be officially into the new application or modified application. I think that'd be the best way.
Any other questions for the applicant? Any recommendations, comments, questions?
I like, just seeing there's a lot of homes around here against trail, like the Legacy Trail, other trails. I personally like to see trees or some kind of, something there. From what I'm understanding about this, that would be the homeowner's obligation. Is that usual practice to do it that way, or?
I mean, it differs between subdivisions, but in this instance, it would be the homeowner's decision. Yeah, it would be an option.
Okay.
I do believe that there's some trees back there already, but anything additional would be on the homeowner.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll see you back here next month. All right, thanks. Our next item on the agenda is the visitor section. There's any vendors that we're.
You guys on a table?
I'm sorry. Mate, I'm with the table.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Long. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mrs. Stark?
Yes.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Any visitors that wish to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? All right. We have the approval of the minutes, March 23rd, 2026. Make a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Palma. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mrs. Stark?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Zoning report. Do we have a zoning report?
We do have a staff report. I had a formatting issue, so I just have the numbers that I'll tell you guys, and then I'll send out the zoning report when it's actually fully completed. So we had 31 zoning certificates this month, 21 were for new builds, and then 8 occupancy permits. 25 new builds is the highest we've had in a month so far this year, and I think that's due to Kittner Crossing coming online. They've started building their single-family homes and their townhomes, so it's definitely providing for more numbers. This month we had 23 single-family units and 10 multifamily units approved, so 33 total new units this month, 83 total new units this year. And that leaves, I believe, Eagle Creek Highlands as the only approved subdivision that hasn't started officially zoning or development yet for zoning certificates or occupancy permits. So once that one comes online, everything will be rolling through.
How are we compared to last or previous years?
We had, this month we had 31, 25 of which were new builds. Last year for this month, we had 20 or 21 new builds, so slightly above that. And then I believe last year we had 41 total new builds on the year until April. And this year we are at 44. I believe. Yeah, so about the same. This month helped us actually catch up to last year because last year we were a little more consistent on a month-to-month basis.
Thank you. Any questions for Alex? All right, discussion, new business. Good. All right. All right. Next meeting, Tuesday, May 26th, 2026.
Do want some discussion on that. I heard from Shannon and Jason, who neither of them have issues with Tuesday or Thursday.
Netflix.
So yeah, Tuesday and Thursday were both good. I heard from Jason and I heard from Shannon though.
I sent back. I'm good this days.
Okay, if you guys are all good Tuesday, then I think we can book that.
Is that the Tuesday after Memorial Day?
Yes, the 27th.
So I will not be there
Okay,
that week.
I know Jason will be there.
I'll be here.
Okay, so we have at least 4, and then depending on Deborah's availability.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I would second that.
Second by Mr. Long. Discussion? What problem?
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mrs. Stark?
Yes.
4 yeas, we are adjourned.
Thank you.